but we will get to the Juwan Howard, who looks to be the next Michigan basketball coach today at 10:35. But we'll let people vent right now about the hot steaming turd that was the final episode of Game of Thrones. Rodney and Vassar. Hi, Rodney.
Hi, guys. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Gator was spot on with Cersei's death. That's the way that should have went down. I agree with Khang that they should have killed Tyrion the second he threw that down through there. I actually didn't mind the council thing because all the characters, they're all bubbling characters anyways, so that's kind of how I thought that scene was. But the biggest problem I had was the Denise and the Jon Snow scene was all the build-up, and if he loved her so much, I didn't feel anything about the whole scene, and he just stabs her, and she's just dead in, 2 seconds, and then...
Yeah, you understand?
Yeah, of course I am, because I watch Game of Thrones.
It's the cell phone connection that I'm...
Well, it wasn't so great there, but here, Rodney, you didn't like the fact that Jon Snow had killed Daenerys the way that he killed her, and then that she's dead within 2 seconds of him stabbing her with a dagger. Here's why I didn't like him killing her, and I hate to take King's thunder away from him, because King, you had a great comment yesterday. We tried doing a podcast about it. We had some technical difficulties, but King said that Tyrion put the ultimate mind blank on Jon Snow to convince him to do the right thing, which was to kill Daenerys, and that's absolutely ridiculous. He's not going to kill the woman that he loves, who happens to be his aunt, by the way. He's not going to do that because some guy says, you're better off for the throne than she is. She'd be terrible for this whole thing. He didn't even want the throne, and he doesn't get the throne. And somehow he's still alive when all is said and done. He gets banished to the Night's Watch instead of getting drawn and quartered and beheaded like you should have in that situation.
Let's go to Mike on a cell. Hi, Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Mike.
What's up?
2 things that I'm really upset about with the finale. Number one, and this is a small one, but everybody had an issue with Jon Snow not giving any respect to his direwolf. So HBO's solution to that was literally taking the scene where he's saying goodbye to his wolf in season 4 and editing it in and changing the lighting in season 8 at the end there. It's the exact same scene. And you can look it up. Season 4 and it's the exact same scene. They literally just took the frames, put it in to make everybody happy, and then I actually tweeted about it. I noticed it. I was like, that's the exact same scene.
Wow.
Ran back season 4, it actually was. But that's not what bugs me the most. What bugs me the most is the whole Princess Promised arc. So the whole thing was when they found out that Jon Snow was a Targaryen, was that he's the Princess Promised. They took that whole arc and they threw it in the garbage, and they made Bran the king. He's not the Princess Promised. That's what everybody was hanging on for. That was Bran's whole job, was to reveal that. Then he becomes the king. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. There's the whole prophecy of Jon Snow being the rightful heir to the throne.
It was pointless.
Outcomes to nothing, and then Bran's the mastermind who becomes
Bran, by the way, said he's no longer Bran like a couple episodes ago and said, I'm no longer Bran. I'm the three-eyed raven. Oh, why do you think I came out? Every time he opened his mouth, I want to punch him in the face. Why do you think I came all this way?
Why do you think I came all this way? That kid will never act in another thing again.
That's your prediction.
That's my prediction. He's done as an actor.
Because
he's a terrible actor.
Oh my God! Well, they didn't give much to work with.
I feel like he must have been, some producer's nephew or something. Just give him a role of Bran Stark. It's not going to be that big. And then they realize, oh, wait a minute, George R.R. Martin wrote this to be a pretty big role in the show. He doesn't have to talk much. He's just got to sit there and roll his eyes back. He'll be all right. Just, he's going to be wheeled around. He doesn't have to do a whole lot. And then when he does speak, you're like, oh, this is the worst. But we can't change actors in the middle of the frickin' season on this guy, can we?
Let's go to Jim and Clausen. You're next. Hi, Jim.
Yeah, hi, Doug and Gator. I love the show.
Thank you.
Gator and Khang, you guys are cracking me up about this stuff. There's so many things wrong with the show, but I got one question for you two guys.
Yeah.
What happened to the Dothraki? Okay. The Unsullied sailed away.
Yeah.
You never saw the Dothraki, and these guys are like, all they do is love to plunder and fight.
You did see them. You saw them right there on the docks as this Unsullied were sailing away in the ships. The Dothraki are right there. The Jon Snow is walking among them, and all they're doing is walking around with their freaky looking swords, and they're like laughing and patting each other on the back, and talking about, that was one hell of a night last night, And meanwhile, the guy who killed the Khaleesi is walking right there, and they're going to let him walk right past. These people live to rape and pillage, and they're going to let this guy walk right past?
No way. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's exactly all the Dothraki do is plunder and pillage.
Yes, they're horrible people.
That's what they do.
That's what they do.
They just go away.
When you kill their queen, the mother of dragons, they're just going to let you walk amongst them? No. And I think
way.
Yeah.
Absolutely no way.
We're led to believe also they were getting on ships and going back to where they came from as well. But by the way, where did they come from in general? Didn't they get all killed by the White Walkers in that the Battle of Winterfell? They just let them out to die. They were the first line.
Yes.
Whatever.
Here's some feedback. Gator has some anger issues beyond Game of Thrones. His inner psychopath serial killer is getting exposed right now live on your show.
I'm just saying that given what the show has given us, that would have been a fitting end for people that wanted the satisfaction of seeing Cersei die. That would do it.
Show continuity, Doug.
That's it.
That episode makes me wish the Night King won.
Yeah.
Me too. Honestly, it would have been better.
Yeah, would have been better.
Game of Thrones sounds like the Lions finally making the Super Bowl, then getting blown out.
It's exactly what it sounds like.
Gator needs some therapy.
I don't need. I'm fine.
Last season, and especially the last episode, is like your wife turning to you after years of marriage and saying, "I started out a man."
Oh my God, it's a dude.
Bravo, Gator. I couldn't have said it any better. Total disappointment this season. Was written by TV scriptwriters. Horrible. The fans deserve a redo of the last season.
But the season was fine up until the last episode.
That last episode was mailed in. And that caller before, 2 callers ago, was probably, I believe him, about the Jon Snow and the dog scene. They heard the feedback. They edited it in and just said, yeah, we'll give the people something to be happy about at least.
So
I was happy to see the dog.